All right, we're back. Rocco, man.
Yeah.
Let's have your topic, buddy.
Okay. So my topic is it's about your significant other, but I'm going to start it off with other.
The others.
I'm going to start it off with how did you meet your significant other? And let this go around the table, starting with Clay. Hit me up.
Me, how did I meet my significant other? Okay.
Yes, sir.
My wife, Sarah, is absolutely amazing. So how did I meet her? Okay, this story is kind of fun. Wow, where do I start, man? Holy
Just
crap.
go from the beginning.
Yeah, so I lived in...
Hold on one second. This is the thing, too, because when it comes to love, there's an interconnectedness there. A thing where there's like, you cannot change anything. And if you change anything, you wouldn't have got to where you're at. Like that.
Oh, yeah.
So this is kind of where I want to see kind of what happened to you guys. Have you guys talked to see what that was? All the different things that had to have occurred to get where you got to? So
constantly.
Let me hear
So
that.
So I moved into Chicago. I moved to Chicago in 2008, at the end of 2008. And while I was in Chicago, it became apparent to me that I had a cousin that lived there, and she was on my dad's side of the family. My dad's side of the family doesn't necessarily keep the closest in contact. Like, we're just out, like, kind of all over the place, and there's been family drama, and like, there's just not a lot of like communication between the two. So to hear that the one cousin that I do somewhat remember when I was like 8 years old, that she lived there, I was like, I have to get in contact. And my sister actually sent her an email. Her name is Heather.
Okay.
Heather got in contact with me via Facebook, and we started talking. So when I found out that she like existed in Chicago and actually was like not far away from the neighborhood I was living at, I actually met her husband, and I met her two like wonderful kids, Nick and Elle, and it was so cool to see family, especially my dad's side of the family, because we weren't close in an area I lived in, especially in an area where I was so far removed from my family. This was the closest thing I had to like somewhat of she really treated me like an older, like I was her younger brother. Like she was just absolutely amazing. They took me out to dinner, they paid for so much stuff, and then I also was just like, dude, I love your kids. Like for Nick's birthday, I bought him an Xbox. And since I was working on Tony Hawk at the time, I got him like a free copy of those games, and he got to play them, and so that was great. And then at some point, I was starting to shift my space. Like 2 years or so while in Chicago, I was thinking about moving to the West Coast.
Yeah.
But in the year in the year
to where
2000,
you are now, were you thinking like Washington?
I was actually thinking L.A.
Okay.
South California. So anyway, in 2011, very early, like around January, she had gotten in contact with me. I haven't spoken to her in a couple months. I've just been really busy at work and trying to like see if I can get out to the West Coast. And she had contacted me and said that, hey, are you seeing anyone? Because I might have a girl for you. And at the time, I had started trying the online dating service. Like Cupid and stuff like that. Okay, Cupid. Yeah. And so I had went on a couple dates, and I was just kind of seeing, nothing serious, like nothing like committed, but I'd seen a couple people like just kind of dating around, like having fun. And then I was like, yeah, sure, totally, because at this time this was also like side note, like I was just trying to open up more and like kind of just like make myself more vulnerable by like going out and doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
So that was almost like that was actually my New Year's resolution.
Exposure.
Was to go and like and like just explore and like and stop being so like close guarded and keeping walls up. So I was like, sure, cool. This would be my first blind date really ever, because I hadn't seen her or anything. It was just like, hey, this is someone. She's single. I think you guys would be a great match. I was like, cool. Let's do this. And so we ended up getting in contact, and we went. And it just so happens that the first day that her and I like our schedules lined up. Was my birthday, and I didn't want to tell her that. I just said, hey, March 3rd is really the day that it was like a Wednesday. I was like, do you think like you'd be available? And she's like, yeah, sure. So we had like one email exchange, and then she called me just to like talk, and man, I had never met anybody who like was so interested in what I had to say. Like, and was like genuinely like, that is so cool that you do that. Like, she was a really great listener. And I'm missing a key part of the story, which was she was the babysitter, the nanny for Nick and Elle, my nephew and niece, and that's how Heather knew her and how she wanted to hook us up. And so Sarah and I had a blind date. We were originally going to meet on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, with her friends, but that was probably a little bit too many layers involved about meeting friends and her and just. it just wasn't proper. So we decided to meet earlier, and that's where the March 3rd came from. Somehow, I believe it was Heather's fault. The knowledge of my birthday being that date got to her, and so when I went to go meet up with her, I got a cab to her apartment. She came out and she had a cupcake ready for me and a card, and inside the card was every one of her kids that she teach. She was a 2nd grade teacher.
Oh,
all
cool.
of them wished me a happy birthday.
Oh, sweet.
And so like on top of talking to her on the phone and like having this like it was just amazing gesture after amazing gesture. I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. And so we proceeded to like go to an awesome speakeasy and have some drinks and just talk and connect, and like the easiest conversation I've ever had, the most interesting conversation I've ever had. Like the chemistry was just there off the bat, and we moved from there to across the street of like another bar and had some drinks, got to know each other. And then I tell her this all the time, but we walked to her door and I was like, well, I really want to see you again. She's like, absolutely. I had so much fun. I was like, okay, I'm going in for the kiss, like jokingly. And like, she's like, absolutely. And when I kissed her, I knew, like just right then and there, like I absolutely knew that she was like the one. Like it was this weird moment where I was like, that was the best kiss I've ever had. Like this is insane. Like how attracted I am to her and like just how much I feel it. And so that started it when we started.
I feel it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
yeah. And then the rest is history.
Which is what I was looking for. I wanted to find that connection and love. You know how it finds itself in this world that can seem so chaotic sometimes. But it seems, but you don't ever know. You know what I mean? Like it's like a design chaotic. Like it wouldn't have happened if you didn't have that cousin that you never got in touch with, that your sister sent out the contact, which was the babysitter.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like,
which was the babysitter.
She was the nanny. Yeah, and like, there's just so many factors that played a part. And we both were looking to go to the West Coast, and so when a year had like kind of settled, and like there were certain other elements that we wanted to stay in Chicago for, but like when we finally were kind of like ready to move, we knew where we were going together. And so it's just within 3 months we were talking about living together, and like within 6 months it was like, hey, we should get married. And like
but it works. Like no judgments at all. I've heard amazing love stories, and every love story that I hear that I find that has true love there, it tends to happen that it evolves very fast. And you can look from the outside and judge all you want, but if you're the people within the inside, you knew within yourself that was the right choice, and that's why it felt easy to make at such a, what other people would say, like too early of a time.
So sorry, that was a really long story.
Hey, no, they're going to be a little bit. They're going to be a little bit depth. They're going to have some depth. So, Ian, let me hear how you met your significant other.
Well, it's pretty interesting. It's almost like a blind date as well. But I was bartending in downtown Tampa. I'd been down there for a few years, and I was actually kind of newly single. I just got out of a long relationship. Was single for 2 months. I told her like 4 or 5, so she didn't think to.
I love this. I love this. The honesty is what we need too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I'm gonna find this out later.
I had moved in with my best friend, and he had a roommate at the time. And the roommate, his name was Jimmy, and he was talking to a girl from his restaurant because he was also a bartender at a completely different place. And I said, hey, he had told me about her roommate, and he goes, you guys would be great together. I'm like, I don't know, and I've never been on a blind date or anything. He goes, oh, she's okay looking. That's what he kept telling me. I'm like, so finally, he goes, I told him that.
She's okay looking is what he said.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So,
she's really funny and has an amazing personality.
Wait till Wink gets back to her on that one.
Oh, yeah. No, she knows this. I've already told her.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we're, the owner of our bar had season tickets that were like 5 or 6 rows from the glass. And they were awesome tickets. So I said, hey, invite them out. So the first time I invited them out, they canceled on me 30 minutes after the game started, so I didn't even know. I'm like, what the hell? So a week later, they said, hey, we all kind of want to go. So I'm going to tell both sides of the story. So I'm on bar working, and I'm like, I don't know who this person is. This is going to be a completely surprise to me. So I told everyone behind the bar, I said, if this girl is like, we're not connecting, or like she's like crazy or something like that, I told them, you all go down to Channelside, which is like a big plaza area with bars and stuff. I said, and I'll just hand them the tickets and say, hey, I have to run the bar. So apparently she was trying to cancel the whole night to not come down there, but her roommate at the time kept saying, "Hey, you gotta go, you gotta go. You know, I don't want to go with just them two." So, kind of dragged her along. So,
love this. I love this.
Yeah. So
both of you were like really nervous.
Yeah.
So, what's funny is right when they walked in, I didn't know who was who, but because I never met either one of the girls, and the one, which is my wife now, of course, I was like, holy shit, is that her? Drop dead gorgeous, blonde, just everything that, and she sat there and talked to me for the first time, and she was really interesting and everything, and I'm kind of shy at first, so we go across the street to the game and everything, and I get the tickets and we walk inside. Now the funny part of the story is we all go up to the bar and get a drink, so everyone shows their ID and everything. You would think she'd be 21 at least, right? Yeah.
Oh gosh.
She was 15.
16.
Whoa! The Hulk, that's why he wears a mask, guys.
She was only 20.
She was 20.
She had her sister's ID, who they looked very similar. So for a while there, I thought she was 21 for like a week. So, but at the game, we had the great tickets and everything. We had a great time, and we got on the jumbotron, which was really cool.
Oh, cool! Yeah, there you go.
You know how like people come down the stairs, during big events, like sporting events. They shoot from the big
T-shirts.
Shoot shirts and all kinds of stuff. So we saw the guy. He was like right down the row from us. So we went running over there. We're behind, going like this, and the guy shot little bean bags, like hacky sacks, and one landed right in her purse. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we had a great time at the game, and we're all walking out, and I'm literally about to ask her for a number, and she goes, "So, are you gonna get my number or what?"
I love it.
Yeah, I'm like, but you didn't give me a second there to ask. And honestly, I said I was bringing you guys back over to my restaurant where I was working. I said we're gonna keep the night going, and ever since that night we've been together, and now we're married.
There
so
it
that's
is.
awesome. Yeah,
Taylor's really forward too, and I love that. She's like, dude, I'm not gonna wait for you. I like this situation, so I'm gonna get it going. Like, come on. I like that.
That's so good.
Yeah, she was extremely interesting, and I thought, I had just gotten out of a long relationship. I was gonna be single and everything, but I was like, this is probably the one, and yeah, I was right. So
there it is. There it is.
How we met.
Awesome.
Steve-O, man. All right, put it on the table. Let's hear it. Truth.
I mean,
with a capital T.
Mine's pretty simple. I just wrote a note, said, "Do you like me? Yes, no, maybe." And I slid it.
She circled maybe, and you were like, "Hell yeah!"
He's like, "I think I got it going on." Do the happy dance.
She said no, so I said 50 more.
What's with all that 1 in a million talk?
Nah, it was pretty crazy. Like all the events that happened, to get to where we met and everything like that. Cause we met in the pharmacy and everything.
And you slipped
what
her.
happened at that point was. Huh?
We don't know. That's why we have to.
That's right.
This is the story part. You tell us.
Well, what happened was I went to pharmacy school, which is stupid. Anyways, to go to. But anyways, that's beside the point.
Stupid.
Anyways, I was dating a girl in school, and she worked at a pharmacy, and she ended up giving me a job there. And they only had a part for the night shift, which Amber worked on the night shift and everything. And at the time, we were getting to know each other, but there's 2 other girls that worked at the night shift too, and they were kind of cousins, and they kind of played us against each other.
Sorry.
No, they played us against each other pretty much the entire time. Like, I guess I would show up late to work a lot, and I would call out sometimes. No, I did. I show up late to work a lot and everything. But the thing was, I was watching my brother at the time and everything, and so I couldn't really show up to work sometimes and everything like that. I had to call in, and at the time, Amber's always good with her work ethic and everything like that. So she was mad that I didn't show up because she got so pissed because she had to do extra work, which I understand and everything like that. But she didn't know the whole thing. I was missing because of my brother and everything like that. Anyways, so we're fast forwarding it. I ended up stopped dating the girl that I was originally dating and everything like that. Then they split up the night shift, right? What happened was sorry, that's a little bit forward. What happened was she was kind of flirting back and forth, but I don't really catch up on flirting at all. I don't catch up on that whole thing. I have like
no guy does.
I don't.
No guys.
Okay, so,
Like,
so that's not just
the
me.
thing of us.
No, man, nobody knows.
All right,
You're like,
but,
you're flirting with me?
Yeah,
What's going to happen here?
what's wrong with your
You
eye?
blue
man?
hair.
You keep blinking, like you got something in your eye.
You keep blinking at me.
You're it.
Yeah,
You're it.
No, so like what happened was is I like we scanned the totes and everything. I remember this one situation we were scanning totes and everything, scanning stuff, putting stuff in and everything like that. And she like clicked something on the computer, and I just joked around. I was saying it now, I guess sounded kind of like a dick because she did have back problems. I was like, oh, I hope you hurt your back or something like that. I don't know why I said that, but she got so pissed off at me, and like from that time, like it just got played against each other, and we hated each other for the longest time. Hated each other. Yeah, we hated each other for the longest time. And fast forwarding to the part, they were gonna split up the night shift, so we were gonna go 1 week on, 1 week off, and she got paired up with me. So she immediately got pissed off because she thought she was gonna have to do all the work. I wasn't gonna show up to work. She was gonna get all the stuff, and then we just ended up saying screw it, and we did it, and we just started working together, and we got to know each other, and we were like just started hanging out, talking. Like I just got to really talk to her a lot, and like
you see this? This is where that love started to happen. You see what he sees? His like speech started to slow down significantly.
Yeah, because I was thinking,
going back to that spot, and it's like it takes your heart away.
Yeah, because I was thinking, and I was just I realized she had 2 kids at the time, and she was doing so much on her own, and I was like, wow, this woman, she's really driven, and and I was just like, I really want to hang out with her more. And talking about it, she was like, at the time, she didn't think that like me, as she said, that anyone like me would like her. You know what I mean? So like I asked her, if she wanted to come hang out one night and watch, a scary movie, because it's the best or something like that.
Get her to cuddle up.
Like, so she didn't expect anything to happen when she came over and everything like that. So we just we were watching the scary movie and everything like that. We ended up talking the entire night, and the thing is she had to go back home in the morning. She had to take her kids and drop them off at school. So we actually stayed up talking all night and everything, about like life and all that other stuff. And then we walked out the car, and I remember we kissed as she left and everything. And she told me later on when she got home, she was filled with so much joy that she actually got out of her car and she did like this little dance. She said she did a little dance afterwards, and then after that, it was just like history from there. We've been together for 7 years. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yes.
So, wow, 7 years.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. Awesome. Seriously. One thing I'm noticing between you guys all, too, and I apologize to anybody out there who's the viewer and is listening, and if I cut out, I'm going to let these guys kind of take over a little bit. But I'm noticing that there's a common thread between what everybody's saying here, and it seems like communication is really super key. I'm hearing she listened to me. We were able to talk. It was these discussions, and it's like this is when it all genuinely started to happen for each individual when they started to see this love. And I kind of had that too. One other thing I have for you guys though is, did you guys experience other things out there? I heard Ian say that he came out of a relationship recently out of that. I didn't hear Clay say anything about that. I didn't hear Steven say anything.
I was actually dating someone at the time as well, and immediately after I had that date, Sarah does. Yeah, I've told her that. Immediately after the date with Sarah, I had cut off every single tie with every other girl. But I was nope, we're done. Yeah. And like one of the girls, like they contacted me. They're like, "Hey, what's up?" I was like, "I'm going to work." Like,
so you had
I
been
just
experiencing
cut
other
off
women.
the ties completely. I was like, "Nope, I'm good."
You had been experiencing other women out there in the world, like okay, yeah. And they obviously Ian too. What about Steve? Yeah? No?
Yeah, like that's how I got the job. I was actually dating a girl that was working there. And the thing is she ended up, because I told you we worked night and day crew, and she was actually, it was like this weird thing, like where she had a friend or whatever like that during the day, but like she was getting weird text messages saying like, I miss you and stuff like that, and I was like, fuck.
From other randoms.
Yeah. It was
okay,
like,
so one thing on this whole point is that like, I had gone through the same thing too, guys. I had experiences with other relationships before I had met my someone, the person I ended up with, and a lot of that I think had a big play. And the big play that I see is that it helped me see what I didn't want to experience anymore in a relationship. through these women that I had gotten with, and I realized, hey, I don't, you got a good little trait here, but you've got these negatives, and I don't think I want to stay in this. So I'd move on to the next relationship, and I kind of built this list of, says, this is the dream woman. And this dream woman was made of all these pros of the different women that I have met in my past. That I'd said, oh, wow, she's got a pro here, pro here, pro here. And this dream woman also didn't have any of those cons that I saw in all those other women. And that's kind of where it occurred and started with me and my wife. It was a Cinco de Mayo about 5 years ago today. I guess you'd say today. 5 years ago, Cinco de Mayo, whatever. Not today. Just 5 years.
Definitely not.
But Cinco de Mayo 5 years ago is when I met my wife for the first time. And how that occurred was I was invited by a person. I came out to Georgia. I didn't know anybody, and I needed to meet people. I don't work in a job field that has a whole bunch of people that I can become social with. So I started becoming just my social self that I am, and I was getting my hair cut and made conversation with a hairdresser at the time. And she and eventually invited me out to Cinco de Mayo to go hang out with her friends, to meet other friends around the area in Georgia. And when I first walked into the Mexican restaurant that I was at Cinco de Mayo, I had immediately, there was 200, 250, people out there, all outside is where I was heading. And they're all standing up, they're partying, there's a lot of music going on, drinking. I immediately had this magnetic feeling that happens. And I turn to the right, and I see this woman, she's in a red dress. And this is no joke, this isn't playing out the story any more than it really was for me subjectively. I see this lady in this red dress. It's like a magnet, and all of a sudden I can't do anything but stare at this woman. And I go and being myself that I am, I sit right in front of her.
Start dancing over.
I sat right in front of her and started conversation. I was like, let's see who you are and what's there. And started talking, making regular conversation. Hey, I'm Rocco, blah 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 blah. And notice this guy. What you want to say something? Say it.
I'm extremely curious. What was the first thing you said?
Well, this is what he said.
Down.
This is what he said. He said, "Did you fart?" You just blew me away.
I can't say that I know exactly what it is that I said because there's nothing that I ever start with, so I can't say, "Oh, I know 100%. I went with that."
But I'll just introduce yourself. You were like, "Hey, I'm Rocco. How's it going?"
No, I'm sure it was like, "Hey, are you with everybody and their friends?" I'm sure it was something just to slide into conversation. It was
probably like
it was like, "Hi, my name's Rocco Avellino, by the way. I'm also known as the Heartthrob." No, so I know time is a little short, so I'm gonna cram this down real fast.
Sorry, yeah.
Met this girl. She's in a red dress, and I noticed that this guy starts to lean over, and he starts to have he chimes in the conversation a little bit. And I'm a disrespectful person whatsoever. I start to notice, oh wow, I think this guy might be a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of situation, and it is. It occurs to be that way. So I go on and do my own thing and go have some fun dancing and drink my night away on Cinco de Mayo. But about a month later, my wife now today had broke up with that man about a week later. She hadn't been happy in the relationship for a long time as it was. It had nothing to do with me personally. But a month later, my friends are inviting me out to go hang out and to meet some friends, and I'm telling them, no, I don't want to do it. I want to hang out with my brother and his girlfriend and play some Wii Mario Party and have a good night away, do my thing. Oh, yeah. And I decide,
or World
whatever.
Of Warcraft with Steve-O and
exactly. So I decided to go do it, and I do it. And what do you know? My wife, Karina, is there, and she's trying on these different dresses, and she's teasing me. She's just doing her little girl thing, and we all know this as guys. You guys say that you're ignorant to it, but I doubt it. You all know what they're doing. They're pulling their regular girl stuff.
I'm ignorant to it.
Trying different dresses. What do you think
I don't know what that means. Like, okay.
What do you think I look like in this dress? Oh, you look sexy. You're just looking for a comment. You're looking for where do I stand?
Is that flirting?
That's not flirting to me. That's help me pick a dress so I could go find a guy.
Whatever.
That likes it. I'll help you.
Rocco hasn't been a nerd his whole life, though. That's
probably
Rocco's always been like the Jonathan Taylor Thomas of our
That's
time.
why he's the heartthrob. Yeah. He gets it.
Maybe. Okay, so anyways, we get on, through the night, and we end up going to this place called the W. It's the Whiskey Blue Bar, and we're outside and we're having conversations. And just like everybody else, we're communicating. And this is when we start to figure out and find out, wow. Okay, so I had that magnetic connection, but it didn't say anything about this is the love of your life, Mm-hmm. It just was like, look at this, oh my gosh, what is that? And she's a beautiful woman, don't get me wrong. She's a beautiful woman on the outside, but like her soul inside shines way brighter. And that's what happened on that communication. It was when we started to communicate about who you are and what you believe in and what you stand for and what do you want to do, is where I found out that we had moral compasses that aligned in the right ways. We had, life objectives that were extremely similar and like-minded, that I knew that, wow, you are starting to fill every check mark in that pros box of the dream girl. You've got it. And that's when it started to occur for me, was at the Whiskey Blue that night. And that night, later on we moved to Opera Club, club, and we're dancing in the middle of a ton of people, and that's when we have our makeout scene. And that was amazing too. Clay, same situation. When I had that first connection, that first physical touch on that deep interconnected level, it was like game over. This is the woman, and I haven't been away from that woman for maybe 3 or 4 days since we've been together, and it did happen fast. I had the same situations where that relationship evolved very quickly, but it was because of that love that stemmed from the core of that relationship. That I can say that it was absolutely, I knew without a doubt I was doing the right decision no matter what anybody said. And I was told some very, very hurtful things in my life at that time when we were making some very big decisions that other people would disagree with, but for us felt right. But that's to show you that you guys never know what's going on in life and why things happen, because there was a lot of things that I didn't get to go into that had played for me even being in Georgia in the first place, to letting alone finding that person through my hairdresser, was in a relationship, and later got on to go hang out with when I was going to go play Mario Party. Everybody has a story. Yeah. And everybody that has a real relationship, I think that it's very important to hear how that connected and that happened, because as you can see from this as example, people get a little a little choked up when they speak about it, because they bring themselves back to that moment, and it's very powerful. It's a very, very amazing moment for us in our lives, and I think that it's great that we all get to experience that, and I hope that for everybody else out there as a viewer.
Now, do you think you guys would have met still if you did play Mario Party?
It doesn't matter. I don't know. No. I don't think so. I honestly don't.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you believe in destiny?
At the end of the day, I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is there's so many things that could have happened. I could have said no, that wouldn't have played out. Like, a ton of things. I could list a billion different things that. If I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z, would I have ever been creative to go to art school in the first place? Right. And that would have led me to Georgia, which would have led me eventually to here in the long run. Like, I don't know those things, how they connected. I just know that they played out the way they did. And had they not, even though that smallest, little, slightest thing, there's 7 billion people in the world, I could have been up with another fish. But this fish was the right fish. And how did I find that fish? It's like through all those billion other connections that had to occur for me to find that person and experience that.
Rocco's wife's a fish.
She's a fish. She's a fish stick. No.
She likes fish sticks.
Dude, Rocco, that's a great topic, man. I appreciate everyone sharing their stories.
Yeah.